It's another weekend filled with a lot of sporting activities, and we're here to keep you updated with them. A lot happening in the world of athletics, football, where we have the CAF Women's Olympic qualifiers, and in the world of basketball, good one for the D Tigers. They had to fight till the finish. These and many more we have on the show today. I am Onyinyechi Obaro, and this is In the Game. You can catch up, follow, like our social media platforms at News Central TV. Do not forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel, #InTheGame. Please join the conversation. We want to feel your feedback. As we do it on the show, let's run through our top 5 stories making the rounds in the world of sports. It is just few days to the start of the 13th Africa Games, but Nigerian athletes are showing that they can bring the medals for their country. Texas Tech's duo of Rosemary Chukwuma and Success Umukoro both dominated the 200 meters hits at the Big 12 Championship. Now we have Chukwuma, who was the second fastest qualifiers across 8 hits. She's posting the season's best of 2:3:07s, while Umukoro clocked a new personal best of 23:19 to win their hits and then advance to the final of the 4th fastest women time overall. Meanwhile, we have Nigeria's shot put king, Chukwuebuka Enekwechi. He landed a big 21.54 meters in the men's shot put at the World Indoor Tour final in Madrid. This is his third best mark of the season, just behind his own African record set 3 days ago. He finished 4th overall as Jamaica's Rashinda Campbell won the national record at 22.16 meters. So Nigerians are really doing wonderfully well ahead of the start of that 13th African Games. Let's see what they can bring to the table. Moving away from that, a Nigerian will become the first African athlete to ever participate in the bobsleigh for the championship that will go down sometime in March. Nigeria bobsledder Simidele Adeagbo, she's preparing for the 2026 Winter Olympics with a clear mission to become Africa's first medalist in the history of the Games. 3 years out from the event, hosted by Italy in Milano Cortina, the 41-year-old is hoping to build on what she already has, a groundbreaking debut at the Pyongyang 2018, of course, Winter Olympics. Now she's about to build on that and become the first African, first black woman to compete at the Winter Olympics skeleton, a sport she only took hundreds earlier to achieve. Adeagbo was born in Canada to Nigerian parents before the family moved back to their homeland in Nigeria. The first 6 years of her life were spent in Ibadan, southwest Nigeria, before relocating to the US, where she has, of course, remained since after that relocation, including her time in college and also following her passion in winter games like the skeleton and the bobsleigh. Now she is about to become the first African woman to participate in a bobsleigh competition, the championship that will lead to the Senior Winter Olympics. Oh, she's breaking records already at 41. She's about to create records and etch a name in the history books. Let's go back to athletics right now as Uganda Eugene Mahala. He was able to create his own personal best for the day. Of course, he's the star sprinter for Uganda, Eugene Omala. He has broken that indoor national record for Uganda, smashing his personal best with a stunning 4:5:18 seconds, clocking over 400 meters in Texas. Omala's achievement was a school record and his first time delivering on the 46 seconds, that race time. He has now surpassed the 4:5:19 meet and facility best set by Will London in 2019. Africans still creating the record there, and this one is a Ugandan athlete who has been able to create the record, etch his name in history in the 100 meters. Now, a record in Uganda, breaking that national record there. We cannot wait to see him when the African Games commences in Accra, Ghana. Away from that athletics, let's go to rugby right now. The Springboks women, the South African women's sevens team, have suffered a slope in the Vancouver Championship. The Springboks women's team, of course, showed real determination and grit in their opening two Pool A matches at the competition in Vancouver. But a poor second-half performance resulted in defeats to Ireland and New Zealand. They will play Brazil in their final pool match today, looking for their first win against in Canada over there where they're having the competition. It was a game of two halves in both matches against Ireland, as the South Africans, they kept their defensive line intact for most of the first half, but making a good hit and rushing to the Irish team. A try by Amelia Murphy, 4 minutes in the break, had to break that deadlock over there against a strong Ireland team. They were trailing 14-0 at the break, but the Boks women were still waiting for the chance to make a try in that competition. Nadine Roos, who is the captain of the side, scored after she sustained pressure in the early second half, but too late, 5-pointers from Ireland confirmed their win against the Springboks women. Their match against New Zealand, while the defending champions, was a similar situation to what they suffered in the hands of Ireland. The South Africans, they managed to interrupt the flow, but the New Zealand attack was so strong for them to go past. At the end of the day, they lose their second match to New Zealand, having to suffer back-to-back defeats in Vancouver. The Canadian Championship, they'll be waiting when they take on Brazil today to see if they can get back to winning ways. This competition here is a qualifier into the Paris Olympic Games, and we want to see the Springboks women at the Olympic Games when it begins in July, August. Now, of course, wrapping up our top 5 story there, we go to the world of tennis. An upset there in the women's singles. World number 1 was humbled by an unseeded Russian qualifier, Anna Kalinskaya. She recorded a 6-4, 6-4 win over top-seeded Iga Swiatek on Friday to advance to the final of the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championship. Kalinskaya won 10 of the final 14 games and overcame 5 aces by Swiatek to dispatch the Poland native in 1 hour, 41 minutes in that encounter. The 25-year-old Kalinskaya would join Italy's Jermaine Paolini in vying for her first WTA 1000 title when the two will meet on Saturday. Paolini posted a 6-2, 7-6 win over Sorina Cristea of Romania. Kalinskaya and Paolina each had their victory over the other, with a forming record of 6-4, 6-2 win over the latter in the 4th round of that Australian Open in January. But Kalinskaya has enjoyed a week to remember, including winning 2 matches in the qualifying, just to reach the main draw of this competition. She later toppled top 10 players like Jelena Ostapenko in Latvia in the 3rd round and Coco Gauff in the quarterfinal before beating Swiatek. So she beat the Australian Open champion, beat the world number 1, women's number 1, Iga Swiatek, and now she's through to her first final. Oh, I wish I had the feel of what happened on the court. But Kalinskaya will forever be remembered as one who had to upset the number 1 women's singles champion, Iga Swiatek. But there you have it, our top 5 stories at this time. We return with more update in the world of sport. Don't go anywhere, and the game continues. Welcome back. You're still watching In the Game. If you just joined us on the show, I am Onyinyechi Obaro. We just wrapped up our top 5 stories. You can catch up, get to follow and like our social media platforms at News Central TV. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hashtag In the Game. Join the conversation. We want to feel your feedback. All right, let's go deeper into the world of sport. The CAF Women's Olympic qualifiers take center stage right now. We had some goal-pouring encounter for the day, for Friday, but we are waiting to see what will be next for the teams who go home with the wins. First leg advantage away and home and at home. But for the Ghanaians, they were at home welcoming the Copper Queens of Zambia. Of course, the Black Queens, after having success, getting their bonuses from the Ghana Football Association, had to go past a star-studded Copper Queens team. I'm looking at the encounter. I could say the Ghanaians were able to press hard the Copper Queens, but not enough, as the encounter is ending in favor of the Copper Queens. Nora Hoptel's side have never lost a game since taking over as the head coach of the team, but the Copper Queens had to come teach them some lesson. Rachel Kudananji over there having that pass to Barbara Banda, but Barbara Banda could not just get the chance, as the defensive players from the Black Queens were strong enough, of course, to tackle Barbara Banda in the box. At the end of the day, first leg advantage goes away from home to the Copper Queens, who dominated the play from start to finish.
We had the third qualifier round against Zambia in the first leg at home. There are 2 games, 180 minutes to go. I think we had a pretty well start in the game. Ghana had possession today. Ghana played football today. The Queens were showing that we are able to play amazing football.
It was tough in the sense that both two teams were actually fighting for one thing, that is qualifying to the Olympics. This is the first leg, but we still have the second leg in Zambia. But today's game, I think I can say it was tough. Although in the first half we had created sure chances, scoring chances, but despite that, we only managed to get a goal.
Of course, coach of the Zambian national women's team there, I'm not really convinced with that advantage he's got away from home against the Ghana Black Queens, but says maybe when they go home, they can do better and get the dominant win on home soil for the Copper Queens. At the end of the day, the encounter ends in favor of the Copper Queens, 1-0 against the Black Queens of Ghana. What can Nora Hoptel's side do to remedy the situation away from home when they travel to Lusaka, of course, to get that encounter parlayed? Let's see who makes the ticket for the Olympic Games come Paris 2024. But let's remind you the results and what it looks like with other games played for the day. The Ghana Queens, Black Queens suffer in the hands of Zambia Copper Queens. They're losing 1-0. But other games played sees the likes of South Africa going against Tanzania. But I cannot forget what happened to the 9-time African champions Nigeria, who settled for a goalless draw against Cameroon. Situations arising over there, tensions and emotions rising in that encounter where Esther Okoronkwo, of course, had to query the judgment of an offside to the goal Nigeria were had. At the end of the day, people argue that that was not an offside. That should have been a goal against Cameroon in that encounter. But the referees had the final say, ruling out that goal for Nigeria. Nigeria did not feel their star-studded side with the likes of Achisato Shuala, with the likes of Uche Nakanu. But we saw a return of some prominent team players like Ashley and also Ainde Halimatu. Ashley did have something to say after the encounter, which ended goalless. Let's listen to Ashley.
Game by game, obviously the aim is to qualify for the Olympics. We haven't been in the Olympics for I don't know how long. So we don't look past the games we have now. Obviously there's more qualifying games coming up in April, but the focus is now Cameroon. We respect them, obviously putting a performance out like they did today and getting the draw is good, and one that, you know, we're not going to drop our heads about. We have high standards of ourselves. Obviously we come out here to try and win all the time, but we take this result into the next game and hopefully come out with a win and go on to the next round. But ultimately, it's just game by game.
Game by game it will be. Ashley Plumtree there making a return in that game against Cameroon. The defensive player there was all out for the Nigerian Super Falcons in that encounter against the indomitable Lionesses. But the second leg awaits. And this time around, let's see who has the final say. If it is the Lionesses or to be the Falcons. Of course, the Super Eagles of Nigeria had to go past the Cameroon indomitable Lions at the African Cup of Nations. Can the women do the same against the indomitable Lionesses? Wait and see on the second leg. Wednesday will be the second leg between Nigeria and Cameroon for the Women's Football Olympic qualifiers. Now let's take you to what happened to the defending champions on the African scene, and that is the Banyana of South Africa. They were dominant against Tanzania away from home. Of course, Tanzania welcomed the Banyana for the CAF Women's Olympic qualifiers, but Desiree Ali's charges were dominant from start to finish in this encounter.
Anaongopa lakini ndio anapata nafasi hivyo. Hilda Tolakele Magaya anaingiza cross low. Wanaweka kwenye neti South Africa. Jelmeni Sopo Senwe anawatanguliza Banyana. Bao moja zuri sana lilijengwa na kutengenezwa kupitia move nzuri ambayo alifanya Hilda Tolakele Magaya. Wako ardhi ya nyumbani, ilianzia hapa ikiingizwa cross moja mujarabu sana, imemalizwa kwa uwezo wa hali ya juu sana. Najat Idris Abbas hakuwa na cha kufanya pale.
Hakika unaweza kusema hivyo, lakini ni bao ambalo limetengenezwa.
Fatma Isa Suleiman ndani ya box, mpira force ile, lakini mwamuzi anasema hapana, cheza vibaya. Alikuwa na intention ya kucheza mpira kwa haraka.
Kwa hivyo mwamuzi anapaswa kuhakikisha kwamba anamuondoa mtu uwanjani akatibiwa nje
kiwa juu ya uwanja. Afanikiwa kupenya ile, mpango mzuri anaoanzisha South Africa kwa ndani ya box. Achia mkwaju yule Najat Idris Abbas anakuwa malkia Twiga Stars muda huu.
Ilikuwa nafasi kubwa kwa upande wa Afrika Kusini.
Haya, Magaya meleta kona ile, haijazaa mafanikio. Napambanishwa tena ndani ya box, nafasi, team captain yuko pale, achia mkwaju, anaandika bao la pili. Wanaandika chuma ya pili, anakwenda kupiga snake and the mark shadow style. Amewadonyo na wanafurahi South Africa. Wanajua tayari wamepiga hatua ndefu kuingia katika hatua nyingine. 2024 itakayochezwa Ufaransa. Aliingia hakuwa muoga, akapiga hesabu zake Christina Tembi Atlanta na kuandika bao la pili kwa South Africa. 12 ilifunga la kwanza, 11 nafunga la pili.
Ni baada ya mpira wa pili.
Michuano ya Olympic 2024 itakayochezwa Paris, Ufaransa umekamilika hapa wakiwa kichwa chini, mikono nyuma, Twiga Stars.
A dominant display by the Banyana of South Africa. They have proven to be one of the African champions there, going all out against Tanzania. No pity. Jeben Sepensimwe, of course, putting her name in the score sheet. And Tembi Gatlana had to put cherry on the cake, having the last go there for the Banyana. They go with away advantage against Tanzania, and we wait when they host Tanzania in Johannesburg for the second leg. Anything can happen in the second leg. There can be a turnaround in the second leg, as Tanzania will be looking to make it to their first Olympic Games if they can go past the defending champions, the South Africa Banyana. Reminding you once again the results: 3-0. South Africa go against Tanzania. Tanzania were at home, of course, and South Africa away from home. Cameroon and Nigeria ended goalless, and Ghana were pipped there by Zambia. All right, let's move away from that. On the continental scene, it is the CAF Women's CAF Champions League. But before that, we have an encounter over there to look out for. The CAF Champions League sees group games played, and we have Salle Mohamed having to go goalless. There were little goals on Friday for that CAF Champions League encounter. Al Ahly were the only team that had a goal, a consolatory goal there against Medeama. Medeama, the Ghanaian side, were at home but could not get that home advantage in the Group D encounter for the CAF Champions League. So Al Ahly, the Egyptian side, were dominant against Medeama and go with a lone goal advantage away from home. Other games ended goalless between Al Hilal Omdurman and Petro Atletico, while ASEC Mimosa and Simba also ended goalless. All right, the Nigerian Premier Football League will see games for Saturday, and that will be Doma United. Doma United will suffer defeat in the hands of Rivers United in last weekend's game on March Day 20. Will return once again at home to take on Enugu Rangers. What can Enugu Rangers bring to the table? Oh, we'll get to see after hostilities gets underway. Kwara United will take on Katsina United over there. And we've got Bendel Insurance taking on Aimba in the Nigeria Premier Football League. The game played for the Egypt Premier League, just one game between Al Mahala and Ceramica Cleopatra, but it was an 8-goal thriller between both sides. Dominant display coming from Ceramica Cleopatra away from home there, as they go 5 against Al Mahala. In the Moroccan Bretola Pro, we have FUS Rabat. They will take on Sportif Swalem. Maghreb Tatouan will take on Raja Casablanca, and Olympic Club Day Safi will see Renaissance today. In the Algerian League, Aknoun will take on Saura, and we get Biskra up against Magra. 2 games to expect in the Algerian League. And the South African Cup, we can't wait to see what Litmonville and TX Galaxy played, and Stellenbosch against Pretoria Calais, what they also can bring to the table for the South African Cup. One sport remains there. We'll make it to the quarterfinals of the South African Cup for the 2023-2024 season. All right, let's go right now to the European scene in the La Liga. Villarreal up against Real Sociedad in a 4-goal thriller there. It all ends in favor of the away side between Villarreal and Real Sociedad. But we'll bring you all that Sunshi details later on the show. We go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll touch a bit of basketball before we go to Europe to tell you what happened, especially in the Premier League. All right, the dominant display by Nigerian D Tigers, making it through the AfroBasket qualifiers in Tunisia. And with all the problems surrounding their, of course, movement to the qualifiers there, the Nigerians still were dominant display there. Of course, at the end of the day, the results showing that they really fought hard on court to make sure that they begin with a winning way. But not going their way, but a lot of Nigerian basketball fans were so happy with that display coming from the D Tigers. Let's feel the pulse of basketball fans, journalists, and enthusiasts. We have joining us all the way from Lagos, Nigeria, a basketball commentator, one who knows how to do her job very well, of course, and the media officer of Rivers Hoopers, making it to the Basketball Africa League. We've got Queen Mosef joining us. Thank you so much, Queen, for joining me on the show today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. Great one to have you here. It's a pleasure. I know for sure that it's a Saturday, a day you're supposed to have the cleanups and all, but giving us this time, we are really grateful to have you on the show today. Let's talk about the D Tigers. They were dominant. Nobody would ever think that this team arrived on game day. They had no or little or no preparations. They had 9 players available, of course, with the foreign-based players pulling out of the competition just at the nick of time. But they still battled to overtime. It's a brutal start for the D Tigers, I must say, Quinn.
Very commendable of them. All through the game, I kept on smiling. Like, I was impressed by the performance of the D Tigers because considering how they got there, they didn't just put this team together a few days ago or a week ago. They put this team together just at the nick of time, just when they were going to the airport. Like, everybody come and meet to the airport, from the airport. And the flights they took on transit from Turkey down to Monastir, it wasn't a smooth one for them. And then having just few hours of rest before this game, it is very, very commendable to have them push up this huge display against a Libyan team who have, well, they are coming up. It's a big win. It shows that Nigeria basketball, we are not lacking in talent, but we just need to do our bit by preparing better. Others are preparing well enough before a tournament, before a big, huge event, and then they are putting up such a huge performance. So if they can put up such a performance and then add up with a huge preparation, they be together in weeks or months, I don't think Libya would have beaten Nigeria yesterday, looking at how far we did. But you look at it, we almost won it because in the first quarter, it was just like a very little deficit going to the second quarter. And we came out huge in the second quarter. Second quarter, we outscored them. Third quarter was a bit of a dilly-dally between them. But in the fourth quarter, it was all about the D Tigers. And we almost snatched that victory late in the game when Mike Nuga had to get that three-pointer into the net. And in 1 minute, we're tied on them. And later on, we led them, but we could not just hold on. And I wouldn't really blame the boys because fatigue would have played a role as well. And that's why we contributed to a lot of turnovers and as well as tired legs. Because like Mike Nuga, he gave away like a steal late in that game. And you know how much he played? He played almost 40 minutes in that game. So tired legs, fatigue, it was fagged out. So you would expect that such a performance would come. But I'm very, very impressed with the way they've played. I just hope that the NBBF can take positives from this particular one and then build up ahead of the next window, which comes up in February 2025.
The next window, before that, the next window, I must also commend Michael Nuga and Divine Eke. They posted some great figures there. Eke was posting 16 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Oh, just for a player who was not even sure that he would make it to the AfroBasket qualifiers against Libya. Great performance for Michael Nuga, notable players, and Divine Eke. But do you think if they had better time to prepare and bond together, we would have posted more numbers away from the numbers we did see Divine Eke post yesterday in that game?
Definitely you would have. And maybe not as much as the 31 points Mike Nuga scored because we didn't really have like an assistance because you look at the 9-man rotation, we didn't have 12 players. We only had 9 men on the floor, like 9 men on our bench, and then we had to swap between 5 players on and off. So with 9-man rotation, it's very difficult because you would definitely have tired legs. And looking at how they got there, they just got there on game day. They are tired. They're already worn out already from the long travel. Then you just have a few hours of rest to go and compete. So, but with having more players or more capable players or more talented players of the D Tigers get to prepare better, you have someone be able to sub him. When he's tired, he goes off. You go off for some few minutes. You know that
right now, Mohamed Sadi was a huge factor. You did see that him shaking his opening there. It was a huge factor for Libya against Nigeria. He was great on both ends. I could see that in the encounter. But the Nigerian D Tigers could not surpass or even overcome his performance on the court. What do you think they should have done better to get the points? Because you could see the difference between the points on both team was not too much, you know, for us to say Libya really defeated us. But Mohamed Sadi was dominant in display for Libya.
For each team, there is always an exceptional talent. You can't rule that out. You can't rule that out at all. In every team, in each team, no matter how little you might want to look down on a team, they usually have that exceptional talent within their ranks. And that is who we saw in Mohamed Mzali yesterday. He showed that he's an exceptional talent from the Libyan team and is one go-to guy they will always trust. But it was difficult for us to guard. It was very difficult for us to guard. Really, there are some players that they're just unguardable. What is now meant, or what depends on what you would need to do now is to how to curtail or cut down whatever they will do to you, because it's very difficult for you to stop them to do what they will need to, because they are exceptional talent. But I think maybe better defense would have got us, would have cut down a lot of those excesses. But I won't also rule out the fact that the zonal defense really helped them, and that was how they were able to get those offense against us. But you won't really blame them.
All right. I think that they do better against Uganda when they take the team. They also lost their opening game for the AfroBasket qualifiers. We have been talking to, of course, basketball analyst, media officer of Rivers Hoopers, Queen Mosef. Thank you so much for joining me on the show today, and your thoughts. Really appreciable here. Thank you so much. All right, time that our friend, we have to call it a wrap on the show. We had other games to look out for today for the AfroBasket qualifiers, and we can't wait to see Nigeria return back to winning ways after losing their first match in the 2025 AfroBasket qualifiers there. Against all odds, the Nigerian D-Tigers have gone there, been able to play their first game, and we're waiting for their first win in this window of the qualifiers. You can still catch up with more details in the world of sport. Get to follow, like our social media platforms at News Central TV, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also engage the hashtag in the game. I am Onyinyechi Obaro. Thank you for being there.